Okay, now we're going to Spain. Spain also had a king. And again, our textbook talks about different centers, but we are going straight to Madrid, where the king is located. Spain also had lots of colonies in order to fuel its court system. So, unlike France, for example, not a manufacturing economy. In any event, Spain was never, unlike France, which teetered back and forth between being Protestant and Catholic and landed on Catholicism. Spain was always Catholic. There's a deep mystic spiritualism in all of the religious paintings. And Spain's role in Counter-Reformation was great. In fact, the Jesuit order founded by St. Ignatius Loyola that we dealt with in Italy, actually, was Spanish. Um, Now the the Caravaggio style, that is both realistic, and that use of that tenebroso light, that is what takes root here in Spain, pretty much all throughout the country. And then the other big issue, as you can see here, we'll deal with when we get to Velasquez especially, that there's always this battle because the realist style of Caravaggio really suggested a kind of gritty, that artists were gritty craftsmen, whereas the Carracci style, you might remember, seems to be associated with art as an intellectual activity. And in some ways, because Spain is Caravaggiste, that using that realist style, like mimic reality, that they struggle they struggle with the issue of painters as intellectuals, and they deal with it in a different way than in France. And Diego Velázquez will make that clear. I got 5 paintings here. They're all in the textbook, I believe, but just to go through quickly. Giuseppe de Ribera, who is situated both in Naples, which is under Spanish domain at this point, and Spain, it does this really wonderful painting. So you can see the realism of Caravaggio and the light of Caravaggio. It's Saint Jerome and the Angel of Judgment. Saint Jerome was an ascetic saint, that is to say, someone who took himself out to the desert and denied himself life, the pleasures of life, and devoted himself to prayer, meditation on death. In any event, he also thought about the Last Judgment a lot. He wrote about it. In fact, he was a writer and one of the 4 commentators, in fact, the 4 fathers of the church. And in any event, he has a vision here of the angel of the apocalypse, the angel of judgment, and that is what we're looking at. Please note the gritty realism. Ribera also did genre scenes, and again, remember, genre just means everyday life, scenes of everyday life. Here, a beggar boy, a club-footed boy, you can see that here, with a note, give me alms for the love of God. Alms giving is specific to lots of Catholic countries, actually, but well, to many countries and many, but here, the Catholic country of Spain, and that is what this boy is doing, begging, invoking Christian piety from others. Um, Francisco de Zuberan, one of my favorite actually, also dealt with both the realism of Caravaggio, the light of Caravaggio, and again this sense of vision making. Here's St. Luke, who's the patron saint of painters. You can see that when he's holding a little palette and brushes in his hand, and he's having a vision of the crucified Christ. Lots of vision paintings, and sometimes the person having the vision is not represented. So this is Zurbaran again, um, doing a painting of the crucified Christ for a monastery, a monastery of Dominican monks. Zurbaran, I just needed to include this because, again, this is one of my favorite. Still life is becoming more and more popular. We'll see a lot of it in the Dutch in the next module, but here we see it in Spain. And still lifes are inanimate objects, usually baskets of flowers or fruits. Here, this really lovely composition of lemons, oranges, and a cup of probably cocoa, which was just being utilized or at this. at this time, in Avit, arranged in this beautiful still life by Zurbaran. Now Velasquez, again, is our painter, kind of like Zurbaran. He wasn't born in Madrid, but gravitates to Madrid and the court of the king. Began his career in Seville. Um, and he's too doing genre paintings, but genre kind of intermixed with religious paintings. So this is a painting we call Christ in the House of Mary and Martha. It actually explains what's happening in this frame here. It's a little unclear. And then in the foreground is a kitchen scene and someone cooking, a younger woman cooking and being kind of tasked with that by this older woman. So the house of Mary and Martha is when Christ goes to the house of these two sisters, and one sits and just takes in every word, and the other cooks food for him, and the other is a little annoyed that she has to do that, and she actually gives her sister a hard time. And Christ says, "No, calm down, Martha. Mary chose this, and she chose the best part." Anyway, it's an odd little story. Lots of trying to unpack the meaning of it. But in any event, what are we looking at here? So again, what is this? Is this a picture of the biblical story? Is it a mirror reflection of something that is happening in front of us? Is it something happening in the next room? And are these connected? Is this Martha? Is this Mary and Martha? And is this Mary and Martha again? In any event, all of this is unclear, and it is one of the things that Velázquez does best, this painting within a painting, one commenting upon the other, to suggest, again, that kind of interest in illusion, art as an intellectual activity. So Velasquez goes to Rome. I'm sorry, well, he does go to Rome, but actually he goes to Madrid. That's just a trip. But he goes to Madrid to work for Philip IV. Again, he's gotten lots of attention for his paintings. So in any event, he does a lot of portraits. So many. And there is a way of doing a royal portrait. So this is Philip IV. Very good at expanding the wealth of Spain at this time, colonies and trading, etc. Most of the portraits look the same. There's a kind of convention to them, state portraits, same kind of format you see here. And here he is specifically in his one type of garment, always holding papers, which suggests that he is the one with power to make decrees, and also suggesting his kind of that he's the head of knights. This is the Golden Fleece, the Order of the Golden Fleece. In any event, for the most part, if you look at these, the painting style of the body is very impressionistic. So I don't have a good slide detail of this, but dashing the paint along here. But the face is often very tightly or smoothly painted. In any event, this is true of the portraits that Velázquez does of all the royal family. When he does people who are off the royal family, that is to say, other people at court, here a court dwarf, and he did quite a few. His painting style changes just a bit. This is a dwarf, deformed dwarf, Francisco Lescano, and here the face also takes on a kind of fuzzy, impressionistic style. So anyway, you should know that Velázquez is someone who can change up his style depending on what it is he's painting. Now the last work of art, I have another video and you can look at, and it will give you lots of information, and in a sense one of your assignments this week is about that video. It is of Las Meninas. Again, this is Diego Velázquez. The painting is Las Meninas, which means maids of honor. The princess of Philip IV is located at the center of the painting, and again, her maids of honor are around her. Velázquez is doing a painting, but he seems to be doing a painting of something that is off campus in front of him, that is in our space. The people in the painting seem to be reacting to us in our space. And then on the back wall, please note that there is this, is it a mirror of the people who are in our space, i.e. Philip the Fourth and his wife? Is it a picture? Is it something completely different? Um, and then just one more detail for good measure. So anyway, I'll let you look at that video and do the assignment for this week. Again, Velasquez is really tricky. Again, he's kind of got that gritty style, Velasquez style, highly realistic. So you're getting the sense that you're just looking at artists as, ape of nature, as they call it, a copier of nature. But yet he's playing with some kind of illusionistic puzzles, setting up illusionistic puzzles for us to kind of decipher. Really great stuff.